On a cold and sometimes windy day in the Green Mountains of Vermont, welcome to the nation's side of excitement, Thunder Road International Speedbowl in Barre for the Partstown 100. Round number one in the $135,000 8-race American-Canadian Tour Late Model Sportsman Regional Series.
Hi, I'm Scott Brimblecombe, and welcome to the nation's side of excitement. We're getting set for the Partstown 100, the first race in the regional series. Marjorie Fay, this is going to be an incredible race, and it's going to be tough to qualify.
Well, as always on opening day, things are a little bit jittery. Competitors are a little antsy. A lot of them haven't had any track time this year. And Thunder Road, with it being a little bit chilly, it's going to have to be a little bit slippery. Not a lot of rubber down on the track, so and there's a lot of cars here, too. That's going to make things very interesting.
Well, Gene Sear, the defending champion in the regional series, is not defending his championship. The odds-on favorite, Jim Silly, the second-place finisher last year.
Jim Silly is an incredible competitor. He's a driver who knows Thunder Road like the back of his hand. He finished second to Chuck Beatty in the Thunder Road Late Model Sportsman Series Championship last year for the weekly competitors, and is very strong. He knows how to earn points. That's part of the problem. Drivers sometimes run to win, but when you're in a series like this, paying $135,000, earning every single potential point that you can, sometimes you have to settle for maybe a 5th or a 6th place finish in order to gain the points rather than risk your car. So Jim Silly knows how to do that. He's a veteran competitor.
Okay, only 24 positions to qualify. We'll be back with qualifying from the site of excitement.
I'm out here every week talking to people about sex. My message is simple. If you're gonna have sex, a latex condom used consistently and correctly can help prevent the spread of HIV and other STDs. People out there gotta understand. That's why I'll go anywhere to talk about latex condoms. Even into your living room.
Tells you you're not smart enough or fast enough, if they say you're too small or too young, too black or too white, if anyone ever says you're all thumbs or all left feet, if they say you're too poor to make it, that you can't do the job or you'll never get it right, if anyone ever tells you any of that, they don't know zip.
A message from the U.S. Navy, where we believe the only way to grow is to rise to the challenge.
Parents, always remember to use child safety seats every time your children ride in the car. Safety seats do save lives. They're effective only if they're used. Using seats improperly or not using them at all can have tragic results. Read the instructions. If you have any questions, contact your local police. Have everyone buckle up. It's common sense, and it's the law.
A message from the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
In qualifying for the Partstown 100, several incidents occurred in the first heat race, including pole sitter Ben Rowe and Scott Carpenter making contact as they went into turn 1, with Carpenter getting around. Rowe also made contact with Dave Whitcomb, who was going by on the outside. On the final lap, Rowe and Whitcomb got together again, this time in turn 4, and losing qualified positions. Carpenter picked up the win by about half a fender over Phil Scott. Rookie Leon Heckford started on the pole in Heat 2 and led from green to checkers to pick up the win over Mike Knapp. Veteran Thunder Road campaigner Jim Silly took an easy win in the third qualifying heat, while the fourth heat saw Mike Kimball hit the wall and flip his Chevrolet on the front stretch, sliding for about 100 feet. Kimball was not injured. Brian Hoare went to the inside of race leader Chuck Beatty with 2 laps to go and was able to power his Chrysler LeBaron to the lead. 4 held on for the win, with Dwayne Lamphere also getting by Beatty for second. The first consolation race saw Dave Whitcomb take the lead from Red Mead with 2 laps remaining for the win. Brent Dragon led from flag to flag for the win in the second consolation round that saw Gary Caron charge through the field and nip Brother Dennis at the checkers for second. In the last chance B feature, veteran drivers Norm Andrews and Steve Miller put on a great wheel-to-wheel battle for the lead for several laps. Later in the event, it was Miller and lady driver Tracy Belrose going for the lead. Belrose was able to get the lead and win the B feature.
Come on, you're gonna make us late. Hey, man, what is this with you? What's your problem? Come on, Mike. You're gonna make us late. There's never a train here. Just go for it. No one's gonna see you.
The light's probably broken.
Yeah, let's go. Come on, Mike.
Come on, chicken.
Yeah!
I wish I hadn't listened to him.
I want to be the greatest artist in the whole world. I want to work in a zoo and take care of animals when they're sick. I want to make buildings for real and skyscrapers.
U.S. savings bonds can help you get them to college so they can be what they want to be when they grow up.
I want to be a musician.
Even if they do keep changing their minds.
Ta-da!
Fruits and vegetables. You know, you ought to eat more of them. Yeah, eating 5 servings a day is a great way to stay healthy. You'll feel better and you'll have energy, too. Yeah, that's what the people from the National Cancer Institute say. After all, you are what you eat.
To stop drug use, I think it's going to take more than a Just Say No campaign. It's so easy to tell somebody just say no, but you've got to give them the power to say no. You have to decide whether to compromise yourself or not. You have to decide whether you're going to help people or whether you're going to hurt people. You have to decide, you know, what's important to you. Where are your priorities? I'm no stronger than the next guy. I've got to be able to make wise decisions in my own life and know that that's what I want to do.
And here's the starting lineup for the Partstown 100 American-Canadian Tour Late Model Sportsman Regional Series. On the pole position, the number 36 from Waterbury Center, Vermont, is Scott Carpenter. Outside of the front row, the number 5 Maine from Dryden, Maine, is Leon Heckbert. Third starting position, the number 68, runner-up in the regional series a year ago, from Groton, Vermont, is Jim Silly. Fourth starting spot from Colchester, Vermont, the number 45, a former International Series champion, Brian Hoare. Starting fifth, the number 14 from Elmore, Vermont, is Phil Scott. Sixth starting spot, the number 80 from Montpelier, Vermont, is Mike Knapp. Seventh starting spot from Groveton, New Hampshire, and the number 02 is Randy Potter. Eighth starting position from Morrisville, Vermont, a former track champion here at Thunder Road, number 40, Dwayne Lamphere. Starting ninth, the number 27 Vermont from Barre, Vermont, is Greg Blake. 10th starting position, the number 31 from Williamstown, Vermont, Lance Furno. Starting 11th, the number 12 from Georgia, Vermont, the defending Rookie of the Year at Riverside Speedway in Groveton, New Hampshire, Chet DeVerney. 12th starting position, the defending track champion at Thunder Road from Graniteville, Vermont, Chuck Beatty in the number 54. 13th starting spot from Essex Junction, Vermont, the number 25, Dave Whitcomb. Starting 14th from Milton, Vermont, the number 0 is Brent Dragon. 15th starting position from Hyde Park, Vermont, in the number 1, Red Mead. Going 16th, number 22 Vermont from Colchester, Vermont, Gary Caron. Starting 17th, the 21 Vermont from Williston, Vermont, Richard Bootsy. Starting 18th from Colchester, Vermont, the number 43, Dennis Caron. Starting 19th in the number 35 Vermont from Essex Center, Vermont, Ron Weston. Starting 20th from Barre, Vermont, the number 05, Jay Parentoni. Starting 21st from Berlin, New Hampshire, in the number 21 New Hampshire, she won the B feature, Tracy Belrose. Also making it into the Partstown 100 by virtue of his finish in the B feature. To 00 from New Haven, Vermont, Steve Miller, starting 23rd. From Morrisville, Vermont, the number 75, Pete Fecto, and starting out back, the number 9 from Waterbury Center, Vermont, Brett Wheeler. Now, Stormin Norman Andrews in the number 2 was scheduled to start 23rd. He had to scratch from the main event.
Did you know that 75% of the women in this country who have AIDS are either black or Latina? Does that scare you? Well, this will really scare you. The #1 killer of blacks and Latinos in this country is AIDS. We're dying out there. So what you need to do is protect yourself if you're going to have sex. You have to use a latex condom, no exceptions. And if your partner doesn't want to use it, then I think you just might have to leave him behind. You got to live, and you got to live with the respect that you deserve.
Hi, I'm Piper the Owl. Be pipeline smart, be pipeline safe.
You might fly over all our 200,000 miles of pipeline and never find a leak. But if you did, a sharp eye would spot a spill, a cloud, or vegetation that didn't look right. You might smell something unusual or hear a strange sound. If any of these things happen, avoid making sparks, leave quickly on foot, and call the police, other authorities, and pipeline companies. Remember this word to the wise.
Be pipeline smart, be pipeline safe.
Pictures of hope from Child Reach, families and communities freeing themselves from the grip of the world's cruelest poverty with the help of Child Reach sponsorship. If you'd like to be a part of these wonderful pictures, call 1-800-346-1100. 1-800-346-1100. Child Reach sponsorship. Yes, it works.
In the last 2 years, the use of seatbelts has saved an estimated 18,000 lives. If buckling up can save so many lives on the road, imagine what it can do on the water. Boat smart. Buckle up. It can save your life.
24 cars set to go. Norm Andrews having to scratch. He had a problem after the B feature, which they ended up taking 4 cars out of for today's race. So Norm Andrews scratched, and they give Brett Wheeler from Waterbury Center a chance to get into the field.
Brett's just pulling onto the rear of the field now because obviously it was quite unexpected for him to make this field. So he had asked for a few minutes of preparation time, and he is falling onto the rear now.
Scott Carpenter and Leon Heckbert set to lead the field down. Heckbert is kind of a Cinderella type story coming into Thunder Road.
It's amazing. They call him Neon Leon over at Oxford Plains Speedway. He's a guy who was a street stock driver last year. He was a pretty darn good street stock driver. Ran probably the second half of the season, had 4 wins, only second in number of wins scored to the guy who won the title. He came to Thunder Road, did a bunch of practicing yesterday. There was a session for the Oxford drivers because they were at a severe disadvantage, and was saying earlier today that without that practice time yesterday, he would not be where he is today. He would still be behind the 8 ball, and as I quickly scan down through the field, I believe he is the lone driver from Oxford Plains Speedway in this field today.
And Oxford Plains Speedway produces some of the best stock car drivers in North America.
That's right.
And for only one to make it.
I mean, Ricky Craven came out of Oxford Plains Speedway earlier in his career. Of course, he's running for Rookie of the Year with the Winston Cup. Quite a few storied competitors. Jeff Bodine has won 2 of the True Value 250s at Oxford in his career. Bobby Allison won his first ever Grand National feature at Oxford back in the 70s. So it's a speedway that can certainly hold its own as far as its competitors are concerned. And Leon is falling in love with Thunder Road. he said to me, he says, how can I run Thunder Road every Thursday night and Oxford every Friday? I said, well, I don't know, Leon. I got to be at Thunder Road every Thursday and Oxford every Friday. Maybe you can do it too.
And then Airborne on Saturday.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do Airborne on Saturdays as well. So
I think Leon would like it over at Airborne. That's some great racing.
He will get his chance to do Airborne racing a little bit later this year in the 100-lap late model Sportsman Series events.
And we'll have that one for you. We've got all 8 races this year in the regional series. We're getting set to go green flag racing. Scott Carpenter and Leon Heckbert, front row. Jim Silly and Brian Hoare in row number 2. Then it's Phil Scott and Mike Knapp. Here they come for the green. Carpenter getting a good jump on the green flag. And Scott Carpenter goes out to the lead. Leon Heckbert pulls it down on the inside. I don't think Heckbert really wants to try the outside just yet. He wants to get some heat into those tires. So it's Carpenter in the lead. Heckbert in second. In third spot is Jim Silly in the 68, and out in fourth is the number 45 of Brian Hoare, and rounding out the top 5 is the 14 of Phil Scott.
There hasn't been a whole lot of movement in the field out in the back of the pack, so drivers are just right now trying to get themselves settled, get into their rhythm. Drivers have a rhythm when they're running long-distance races. They got 100 laps, not 35. They can take their time.
That's absolutely correct, as Scott Carpenter continues to hold the lead. He's stretching it out pretty well, but again, he doesn't have to push that hard at this time if he doesn't want to. Heckbert, I think, just getting the, like I said, getting the tires warmed up. Jim Silly now looked down low as they came onto the backstretch. Jim Silly would love to get by Heckbert and then really put a challenge on Scott Carpenter. We saw Silly in that heat race, and he dominated it.
He made his statement, and Jim's a smart guy, though. He's not going to take any unnecessary chances at this time. He knows that you don't win a race on lap 6 or lap 8. I mean, if the opening's there, he'll probably take a shot, but he's not going to try to force the issue.
Well, Jim Silly and Kevin LePage ran wheel-to-wheel a couple years ago in a 50-lapper. And it was one of the best races we ever saw, and Jim Silly came out on top.
He sure did. He's a very confident driver. He hasn't finished up in the top 5 as many times as he has without being the confident racer, but right now he's just hanging where he is. We've got some of the drivers from the back of the pack are starting to move forward, Scott. I mean, you've got Dave Whitcomb who's moving, the 22 of Karen, Brent Dragon, the 31 of Lance Furno.
And we're also taking a look now at Steve Miller in the 00. He had to qualify through that B feature, and he is really moving up through the field. He just got by Chet DeVarney. Now he's setting his sights on Jay Tarantoni in the number 05. So Miller trying to make his way up to the lead here. He's still mired deep in the pack, but he's on his way.
Well, again, this is a driver who's going to run this race at his own pace. He has quite a bit of experience running longer distance races. He's run some ACT Tour shows as well. And he's, now, of course, if I speak, he goes high, and I hope I haven't jinxed him. It looks like something must have failed on that car.
Miller slowing way down. He's dropped off the pace. We'll have to see if he goes on to pit road this time. Stays out on the track. Now we're taking a look at Mike Knapp, Chuck Beatty, and Lance Furno. As Beatty continues now, he's trying to challenge Mike Knapp, who has fallen back in the field. He's in 10th spot.
Oh, you got the 22 of Karen just tagging the front of Brent Dragon. They hit the wall. Karen ricocheted off and just caught the nose of Brent Dragon. And fortunately for Karen, he didn't end up spinning. He gained a spot.
Well, that's the way to do it. He may try it again.
Well, Lance Furno could be his next victim.
Well, Chuck Beatty, as we were saying earlier, that he's trying to make his way out of the back. He's the 3-time and defending Thunder Road track champion here in the late model sportsman division, trying to make his way up through the field after starting in the 12th starting spot. Up front, it's still Scott Carpenter leading it. Leon Heckbert in second, and Jim Silly maintains that 3rd position. Phil Scott is up to 4th. Greg Berger Blake on the move as well. in the 5th spot.
Now, Miller is now down a lap to the field, so I'm probably willing to bet pretty safely that something has happened to that car, whether it's a motor problem or maybe his clutch, transmission, something along those lines. Something has failed on that car, because that certainly isn't the strong car that we saw earlier.
And he could even have a tire going down and hoping to get a caution flag.
Right, obviously, to pit at this point in time would be almost sheer death to any potential in the race. Right now, if that's his problem, he's just trying to hold on and see what he can get. Maybe he can catch a yellow.
Pete Fecto got sideways out of 4, but able to save it. Now we've gone 21 laps as they come by this time, and there's not been a caution flag out there. Drivers driving a very clean race here in the Partstown 100.
You got a great battle now between Whitcomb and Karen, those two Essex Junction, Colchester area drivers up in Vermont, just outside of Burlington. Two veterans putting on a good battle midfield.
And they're right behind Chuck Beatty.
That's a battle for 12th, I think, 11th and 12th.
It's Whitcomb on the inside. Now, we saw Whitcomb in the qualifying heat and in the consolation running the outside, and he did a tremendous job on the outside. One of the few drivers that could run out there today.
Now, Beatty is moving low. The 54 of Beatty moving under. My goodness, we're looking at almost a 3 wide coming out of 4. That's almost unheard of here at Thunder Road, except on a last lap dash for a win.
Well, Beatty got a piece of Mike Knapp, but he backed out of it as being a gentleman racer that he is.
And again, Karen gains the advantage. She picks up a spot out of the deal.
And his next target is Dwayne Lanfear, the Thunder Road bad boy, who runs him a little high in turn 1 and 2.
Well, the deal is you got to pass him. if Lanfear's obviously trying to make his car just as wide as he possibly can, but it's not wide enough because Karen fairly easily goes by.
Back to the leaders. It is Scott Carpenter still in front, and Leon Heckford from Maine is holding the 2nd spot with Jim Silly in 3rd. We have a spin. Chuck Beatty on the front stretch goes all the way around and keeps on going. No yellow flag.
No caution flag. Well, that's fortunate and unfortunate for Beatty. Of course, he's lost a lot of ground, and with the pace that Carpenter's been setting, Miller just went down the 2nd lap. The pace 36 Carpenter is putting on, Beatty's going to have a whole lot of space to make up, unless we have a yellow.
And I think a lot of people coming into this race with the conditions we have today thought we'd have yellow flags galore, and we haven't had a 1 yet in 30 laps.
Well, in some of the earlier qualifying, we certainly did. We were taking them 1 lap at a time. I guess we were taking it, but no evidence of that right now. I think drivers have figured out this slippery track, green track, whatever you want to call it, and have made the necessary adjustments to their cars.
Scott Carpenter still holding the lead. He's dedicated to running at Thunder Road this season, and he's getting a pretty good start on this already. Up in the lead, Leon Heckford looked to be closing in a little bit. Greg Blake has moved to the 3rd spot past Jim Silly, who drops back to 4th. Phil Scott runs in the 5th position.
Brian Hoare, rather, something's wrong with his car. My guess is he's probably got a tire down. He's wiggling all the way. He's going to loop it now in the back. He's going to bring out a yellow.
Well, he stopped it on top of turn 3, and he put it in reverse to get out of the way.
Well, I don't know. I might be sticking my neck out, but I think that was right on the edge of an intentional yellow, and yeah, he's got a flat tire on the right rear, and now see, the pit road, he is not able to pit yet because the field has to be brought under control. The pace car has to come out, and
now he passed the pace car. Is that, I know sometimes you can, sometimes you can't.
Well, I don't know. I'm not monitoring race control at this point in time. I don't know what the call will be on that.
Of course, they could have waved him by.
They could have waved him by again. That's a call that I'm not going to make because but he is not allowed to pit while that red flag is up. He is now allowed to pit because the green is up and that has to do with the scoring basis here at Thunder Road. Unlike Daytona and Talladega, it does not have an usable infield pit road. We do have an infield pit road, but it's not one that the competitors can use because of the size of the track.
Steve Miller, Lance Furno, Jay Parentoni, and Chet DeVerney all going to the pit road during this caution period.
Now this is going to be for handling things, probably adjusting air pressure, maybe, you know, I don't know that many of these guys are going to be changing a whole lot of tires, but...
Is there a ruling on as far as how many tires they can or can't change in this event?
They can't change a tire unless the tire is flat on the rim. Now I can see Parentoni's car from here, and the hood is going up on that, so that probably does not bode well for that young man. Now the drivers here at Thunder Road, they now have to get back out before the field comes back around again, otherwise they'll be down a lap. Now I see Hoare is pulled out, he is waiting, and he'll pull out onto the rear. Lance Furno's just pulled up into line to wait to enter the track. Because I was saying, because this does not have a usable infield pit road because of the tightness of it, they have to put a special scoring procedure into an effect to give the guys time to do the service necessary. So they basically they cover the scoring clock, they get one free lap to do their service. That's the procedure that you follow, that we have put into effect, ACT has on tracks that have unusual circumstances. At Airborne, we won't have to do that. They've got a nice pit road, same thing at Oxford, but at Riverside we will. So we got 2 and 2.
2 and 2, that's fair.
But this is a system that they worked with last year. All the competitors understand the system, and in essence, it's the same thing.
In times of need, all across the land, we're your friends and neighbors who lend a helping hand. When we were needed, we were there. Americans at their best. When we're needed, we'll be
there. Listen to the heartbeat of the earth. All life depends on that beat. The earth has always provided for us. Today, as in the past, we must keep this heart strong. Give back to the earth. Call 1-800-THE-SOIL for your free action packet. Harmony, a partnership with a healthy land.
Fairy tales can come true. It can happen to you if your heart is young. And here is the best part. You'll have a head start if you are among the ones whose heart is young.
It is a test, not just of strength, but of the power of the mind. And if you complete the journey, you will be changed forever. The few, the proud, the Marines.
In the number 45 is going to be black flagged. His number has been posted. So Brian Hoare will receive a consultation flag and be sent to the pit area. It's Scott Carpenter, your leader, Leon Heckbert in second. Third spot is Greg Berger-Blake. Fourth, Jim Silly. Fifth, Phil Scott. Sixth, Randy Potter from Riverside Speedway.
Scott, I've gotten a little bit of information. Evidently, it was on the request of the crew that Brian Hoare was pulled to the pits.
Okay. Green flag is out. Scott Carpenter with a good jump. Carpenter playing the starts very good this afternoon. Greg Berger-Blake gets on the inside of Heckbert, goes to the second spot. Phil Scott goes to third on the inside of Leon Heckford. So Heckford not running that well up on the outside. Of course, his tires have cooled off under this caution period. And now on the inside is the 22 of Gary Caron from Colchester, and he gets by Heckford as well. And here comes Dave Whitcomb. Whitcomb and Heckford make some contact. Heckford slows. Brent Dragon looks to the inside of Leon Heckford.
I don't think Leon's car likes being up in that high side.
No, I know on the original start, he pulled right to the inside as soon as he could. And now Heckford is going backwards in a hurry. Mike Knapp makes contact with Heckford. Knapp goes around on the inside of turn 2. The track is clear, and Knapp will get back underway. Brian Hoare has come back out on the track after making that pit stop. It's Scott Carpenter, your leader.
Got Fecto around in turn 2. Jake Parentoni narrowly misses him.
Cars going around Pete Fecto. Fecto gets it back underway. Lap number 43 complete with Scott Carpenter, who has led from the very drop of the green flag.
Everybody will sort themselves out, get back into a single file line.
Now, unlike most late model sportsman races, we were talking about the scoring earlier, is we do count all our laps except the last 5.
Right, the last 5 laps have to be run under green, but not necessarily consecutively. They have to, won't finish under yellow. We don't feel that it's fair to the fans or the competitors.
I agree with that. You hate to pay to go to see a race and have it under the yellow flag.
Yep, and obviously the Super Truck Series has adapted something along those lines, so they go to, I guess, a green-white checkers at the end of their events to avoid that.
The person that's made the big move, Marge, is number 22, Gary Caron.
From the 16th post position, he's now riding in 3rd. That's an impressive move in just 44 laps.
And Gary Caron has won before here at Thunder Road, so he knows this track well. You know, I think maybe we overlooked him in qualifying, and
well, he's always been a strong runner, but he's never been one of those flashy guys that's out front all the time. He's always been real steady. That's kind of like all of the Caron boys. They've always been real steady competitors. But he certainly is proven to be, other than Carpenter, who's running up front, somewhat of a noticeable person of today.
So Gary Caron in the 3rd spot, Greg Berger-Blake in the 2nd position. A good run for Blake in the number 27. And then up front is Scott Carpenter. He's led all 44 laps in the number 36. He's out of Waterbury Center, Vermont.
You begin with raw steel. Shape it with fire, muscle, and sweat. Polish it to razor-sharp perfection. Maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
Look, Doc, I don't know how to say this, but I've been having a little trouble, you know. Nah, it's not important. Yeah, it is important, so I'm just gonna say it. I can't say it.
Can't say what, Mr. Elick? You have a problem?
No, I'm fine, Doc.
Learn how to talk to your doctor. Call for a free booklet, 1-800-222-2225.
Right now, Americans 18 to 80-something are using their heads to solve the world's toughest problems. Today's Peace Corps volunteers are effective business advisors, among the first to teach AIDS prevention and the world's largest environmental workforce. More than 140,000 workers in health, agriculture, and education have served in over 100 countries. If you've got a good head, an open mind, and a big heart, find out more about joining the Peace Corps. Peace Corps, the toughest job you'll ever love.
He didn't look. He didn't listen.
It's like him believing that if I could see him, that I could stop the train.
He drove right out in front of me. Didn't he know that sign meant yield?
Takes me 1.5 miles to stop. 1.5 miles.
The whole time I'm just praying that she would just move.
Pace car comes into the infield. Scott Carpenter to lead him down. Greg Berger Blake on his outside. Here they come. Carpenter's been getting great starts so far. Got about a half car length start advantage that time as they came down. Blake right on the outside, staying right with him. It's Carpenter on the inside, Blake on the outside, Gary Caron in the third spot. And then it's Phil Scott running fourth, and Dave Whitcomb in the 25 goes in the fifth spot with Brent Dragon a little ways back in sixth. Jim Silly in the 68 has fallen back somewhat. And we'll have to see if he can get himself back in there. Greg Blake comes down. Blake has the lead as they complete 48 laps here in Thunder Road in the Partstown 100.
I've gotten a little bit of information from the pits while we were just going back to green. Evidently the 00 with Steve Miller is done for the day.
And unfortunate for Steve Miller, who looked pretty good out there. Scott Carpenter has gone around in turn number 2. Cars scurrying all the way around him.
Oh, looks like he's lucky. Everybody has managed to avoid him. Oh, Tracy Belrose is caught up on the top there. She just hung up. No, she seems that she might be able to get it.
And she does, so she won't go a lap down.
I think they're gonna, she was certainly attempting to move forward, and in a situation like that, you have to give the driver the benefit of the doubt. So yes, she will hold her lead lap position, as will Carpenter, which is certainly a break for them, because at Thunder Road it's virtually impossible to come from a lap down.
Definitely, and Belrose, it wasn't any problem of her own that got her there.
No, she just got, I think, the off-track area up there is quite sandy, and I think she just, with no traction in those tires, had to spin a little bit to get it going.
Well, Greg Berger Blake is now our leader in the 27. As Carpenter will go to the back, and it'll be interesting to see if Scott Carpenter can come from the back.
Well, he's going to certainly have his work cut out for him now. Another thing is he may have what they call flat spotted his tires in that spin. Possibly not as much of a concern today as it could have been on a hotter day, because those tires aren't real soft. But again, a possible concern for Carpenter.
Berger Blake will lead him down for the green flag. Gary Caron has moved from the 16th starting position to the 2nd position. Dave Whitcomb currently runs in the 3rd spot after starting 13th.
We've had some drivers who've rather unobtrusively moved forward. They haven't done it with great, you know, show or anything like that. They, as I said at the outset, they just setting their pace, picking people off methodically.
That's right. They're driving a smart 100-lap race and not getting themselves into trouble. There's so many drivers that will just go out and think that you win the race in the first 10 laps, and that's not the case.
No, you certainly won't be around at the end of the race if you try to do that. And it's a hard lesson for drivers to learn, because obviously they're very competitive and they want to take advantage of all opportunities, but again, sometimes that's not in their best interest.
Randy Potter's made a good run too. He currently runs in the 5th spot after starting 7th on the grid.
Now how about Brett Wheeler? He's in 10th and he started scratched. He was dead last at the outset.
So Wheeler has showing a little promise out here in this 100-lap main event. 52 laps complete. We come down for the green flag. Now 53 complete. Berger Blake on the inside. Gary Caron on the outside. Caron staying right with Blake.
Well, it looks like we got a horse race, as they say.
This is better than the Kentucky Derby.
And I think Caron had it at the light that time.
Gary Caron inches ahead. Down the backstretch they go. Berger Blake comes back on the inside. Caron running the high line and running it very well in the number 22. Now Blake had the lead that time when they came by. There's 55 laps complete in the Partstown 100 for the Late Model Sportsman Regional Series.
Well, here comes Whitcomb now under Gary Caron. The 25 of Whitcomb moves into 2nd place, but does he?
Wow, Gary Caron coming right back. It looked like Caron got a little high, just like he did in turn 1 and 2, but he's able to come back on the backstretch. Now Whitcomb has the second position. Caron's back end is sliding around a little bit. He's loose, and that may be affecting his run here in the Partstown 100 as Phil Scott goes underneath Gary Caron in the number 14 Thunderbird.
Again, the field starts to string out just a little bit.
Richard Bootsy in the 21 trying to make his way up. He's currently in the 7th position, the number 21 Vermont, that is. He started 17th on the grid. The former track champion at Catamount Stadium, returning to the late model sportsman division. It's Blake in the lead. Dave Whitcomb now closes in. With 60 laps now complete here in the Partstown 100. '54, Chuck Beatty and Jim Silly in the 68.
That's the one. They're running 1-2 just like they did last year at the end of the season.
Just like last year.
But Leon Heckford's been able to still maintain his spot, staying among the top positions. Scott Carpenter is attempting to work his way back forward, but he's not having a whole lot of success either.
He's got appears to be a tire rubbing, as there was smoke coming off Carpenter's car in turn number 4. Dave Whitcomb trying to reel Greg Blake in the number 27, who is your leader. Gary Caron runs in the 3rd spot. Then it's Phil Scott in 4th, Randy Potter in 5th, Leon Heckford out of Maine runs 6th. 7th is Richard Bootsy. 8th is Chuck Beatty. 9th is Jim Silly. And 10th is Brett Wheeler in the number 9, who was the first alternate and got in because Norm Andrews was unable to start today's race. Now Whitcomb looks to the outside of Blake. Whitcomb has been able to run really well on the outside in the number 25 Chevrolet. It's Blake down low, Whitcomb looking up high. Those cars are pretty closely matched. They could almost be teammates out there.
They certainly look at that way at this point. Whitcomb just keeps working that high line, hopefully trying to get Blake to force a little bit of an error.
And Greg Blake has run at Thunder Road for many years. He's not a very old gentleman, but he's run here quite a long time and knows his way around this track very well. 2 Chevrolets battling for the lead here in the Partstown 100 for the late model sportsman regional series.
Oh, he looks slow now. Berger's left a little bit of a hole, and see if Whitcomb can fill it now.
But Blake had great power coming off turn number 4.
Certainly does. Now Whitcomb seems to be regrouping a little bit, and he's making another shot at him.
Lance Furno coming up from the back of the field in the number 31. He started in the 10th spot, and he did make a pit stop on the first yellow flag, so he's making his way up through. Brett Wheeler is about 10 car lengths in front of him. And we got
Caron looping up in turn 4.
That's Gary Caron in the 22 who spins in turn number 4. Chuck Beatty goes up to avoid him. Does not hit that wall, the new safety wall that's been put in turn number 4. So there's 71 down. 29 laps remaining here in the Partstown 100 for the American-Canadian Tour Late Model Sportsman Regional Series. The next event in the Late Model Sportsman Regional Series will be at Oxford Plains Speedway in Oxford, Maine, the Maine Dodge Dealers 100.
Did you know that 75% of the women in this country who have AIDS are either black or Latina? Does that scare you? Well, this will really scare you. The #1 killer of blacks and Latinos in this country is AIDS. We're dying out there. So what you need to do is protect yourself if you're going to have sex. You have to use a latex condom, no exceptions. And if your partner doesn't want to use it, then I think you just might have to leave him behind. You got to live, and you got to live with the respect that you deserve.
Change. It's coming faster. Only those with high-tech skills will excel.
Power, Spear 1-1, holding short of 1-6.
I'm getting those skills now in the Air Force. It's given me powerful tools, education, training, and experience. With Air Force skills, I can keep up with tomorrow's changes, and so can you.
Hi, I'm Piper the Owl. Be pipeline smart, be pipeline safe.
You might fly over all our 200,000 miles of pipeline and never find a leak. But if you did, a sharp eye would spot a spill, a cloud, or vegetation that didn't look right. You might smell something unusual or hear a strange sound. If any of these things happen, avoid making sparks, leave quickly on foot, and call the police, other authorities, and pipeline companies. Remember this word to the wise.
Be pipeline smart. Be pipeline safe.
Did you bring it?
I forgot it.
Forget it.
Next time, don't forget it. And every time, make it part of the relationship.
A latex condom used consistently and correctly prevents the spread of HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, and may save your life.
If anyone ever tells you you're not smart enough or fast enough, if they say you're too small or too young, too black or too white, if anyone ever says you're all thumbs or all left feet, if they say you're too poor to make it, that you can't do the job or you'll never get it right, if anyone ever tells you any of that, they don't know zip.
A message from the U.S. Navy, where we believe the only way to grow is to rise to the challenge.
Blake and Whitcomb line up side by side on the double file restart. And that's another nice thing about the American-Canadian Tour Late Model Sportsman Series is the double file restarts on the caution flags.
Yeah, some organizations use a single file on a restart or a single file after halfway, or have the lap cars drop back. But our policy is if you've earned the spot, you're entitled to it. So everybody doubles up. Lap cars are included in that. Nobody has to fall back, and doesn't look like there's any lap cars up in the forward positions to cause any trouble for anybody. So we're gonna have a clean and green start here.
And they get set for the start. Pace car comes in. Blake and Whitcomb lead them down. Quick start, and Dave Whitcomb trying to get the jump from the outside in the 25. Blake stays right with him on the inside. They're wheel to wheel down the backstretch. Phil Scott runs third. Randy Potter is fourth. And in fifth is Leon Heckford. Dave Whitcomb comes down, and Whitcomb had a half a fender lead as they came across the stripe that time by with 75 down, 25 to go. Blake comes back on the inside, however. What a race we've got.
Oh boy, that one was too close to call.
I wouldn't know who to give that one to. Check the replay, I guess, is the best way to do that one.
You gotta check that one.
Now Blake gets out in front of Whitcomb. Whitcomb tucks in behind him. Scott runs third. Potter is fourth. And Heckford is in the fifth spot.
Yeah, that 45 of Hoare is down at least one lap and possibly two because he got called to the pits by his crew.
That's right. So Brian Hoare is just trying to make up his laps that he is down. There's 22 laps remaining in the Partstown 100. Greg Blake holds the lead. He goes high. Dave Whitcomb looked down on the inside, but there wasn't enough room to try to attempt the pass.
That's certainly too bad for Brian Hoare because his car is real strong at this juncture, and he's going after Randy Potter with a vengeance.
I would say Brian Hoare probably has one of the fastest cars on the racetrack right now. Whatever they did on pit road, they did it well for the number 45. Up in the lead. Greg Berger Blake leads by about 3 car lengths. He's going a little higher in the corners now. You wonder if maybe the handling's gone away on that Chevrolet. Dave Whitcomb runs in the second spot, and Phil Scott in the fourth goes third.
Oftentimes the Groove Scott will move up the track a little bit as the race progresses.
And that's very true. You know, we used to see Dave Dion, like I was saying earlier, in the 70s, running that high groove. Of course, Dave Dion ran it all the time. So.
That's true. Dave Dion has a line around most racetracks that is truly his own.
Blake and Whitcomb, first and second in the Partstown 100 with 17 laps remaining. Phil Scott runs in the third spot. Fourth is Randy Potter in the 02, and fifth is the number 5 of Leon Heckford.
Now Bootsy in the 21 car, the blue and white 21 car, and Silly are trying to get their own little battle going. Silly is trying to get every single spot that he can to come back after such an outstanding performance in the qualifying heat.
Well, Silly started in the 3rd spot, and then all of a sudden he went backwards after running right up towards the front. 85 laps complete, now make that 86. There's 14 to go here in the Partstown 100, and a relatively incident-free event.
Yeah, everything has been very minor that we've experienced today. Little loopers and bloopers, as they oftentimes call them.
But nothing too serious. We had more accidents and wrecks in the qualifying round, with one driver getting on its roof and sliding down the front straightaway. They come down, there's 88 laps now complete. It's Greg Blake leading in the number 27, with Dave Whitcomb in the 25, running in the 2nd spot.
Of course, the lap car of Hoare is running 3rd on the track, but actually way back in the pack, with the 14 of Phil Scott actually earning the 3rd position.
Brent Dragon in the number 0, running towards the rear of the field, and he's been trying to make his way up through in that car number 0. He started in the 14th spot.
10 to go this time by.
So 90 laps are down, 10 to go now here in the Partstown 100. Greg Blake leads in car 27. Dave Whitcomb holds on to the 2nd spot. And they've got a pretty good advantage over Phil Scott, maybe a little over a quarter of a track.
Oh, something like that, a straightaway anyway. Furno is trying, boy, Lance Furno has come back. He's challenging Bootsy right now, and he's knocking on the back door of Leon Heckford, who's running in 5th spot.
Furno moving to 6th as he gets ahead of Bootsy. We'll see if he's able to get into the top 5. Bootsy stays right with him on the inside. They may have touched as they came out of turn number 4.
Well, Furno's going for the high side, and he's going to try up on the outside of Heckford right now.
Heckford goes up the track to block Furno, and that's opening the door for Bootsy. Bootsy and Heckford. Heckford able to save it. He and Bootsy made contact. He was trying to block Furno, and then Bootsy came up on the inside, and then he decided to try to block Bootsy. Hard to block 2 cars at one time. 5 laps remaining. We're in a Partstown 100 in a great.
Potter's going after Phil Scott.
So Randy Potter comes down, and that time he had made it by him, and he goes to the 3rd spot in the number 02. Phil Scott comes back on the inside, however. Scott Carpenter, I believe, received the consultation flag. He pulls it into the infield.
Yeah, he has a leak. Something is leaking on his car.
So Randy Potter now in 3rd. There's 2 laps remaining, and Burger Blake has about a 10-car length advantage over the 25 of Dave Whitcomb, and Blake will be coming down to receive the white flag this time by. He's got a whole bunch of lap cars in front of him, which could play into the mix here with on the final lap. But down the backstretch, Blake in the 27. Up on the outside, going by the lap cars. Here they come for the checkered flag. Greg Blake in the 27 picks up the win. Dave Whitcomb finishes in 2nd. Randy Potter is going to get 3rd. Lance Furno with a great run from the back of the pack for 4th. And Phil Scott will finish 5th in the final tally. So a good race here at Thunder Road in the American-Canadian Tour Late Model Sportsman Regional Series, the Partstown 100. And it has been won by Greg Blake of Barre, Vermont in the number 27 Chevrolet. We'll be back with more after this at Thunder Road.
Fruits and vegetables. You know, you ought to eat more of them. Yeah, eating 5 servings a day is a great way to stay healthy. You'll feel better and you'll have energy, too. Yeah, that's what the people from the National Cancer Institute say. After all, you are what you eat.
When I was young, I discovered music and practiced to become a musician. Later, I joined the Navy and became an officer and learned about discipline and teamwork and doing your best. Then playing pro ball, the dream of a lifetime. These are the things I love. These are my choices. But none of them would have come true if I hadn't made an important decision a long time ago. I don't do drugs. That's what's worked for me. Think about it.
Helmets on, and now our mouth guards.
Why mouth guards?
You should always wear a mouth guard while playing sports, whether you're playing baseball, basketball, skateboarding, football, or riding your bicycle. Mouth guards protect your teeth and your smile, and mouth guards are cool.
Cool!
In times of need, all across the land, we're your friends and neighbors who lend a helping hand. When we were needed, we were there. Americans at their best. When we're needed, we'll be there.
Welcome back to Thunder Road in Barre, Vermont. I'm Scott Brimblecombe along with Marjorie Fay. And Greg Berger Blake picks up the victory in the Partstown 100, the first race of 8 for the American-Canadian Tour Late Model Sportsman Regional Series. The next event in the Regional Series will be at the Oxford Plains Speedway in Oxford, Maine, the Maine Dodge Dealers 100. Be sure to tune in to see that great event. For our staff here today and for Marjorie Fay, I'm Scott Brimblecombe. Thank you for joining us from Thunder Road.
Pictures of hope from Childreach, families and communities freeing themselves from the grip of the world's cruelest poverty with the help of Childreach sponsorship. If you'd like to be a part of these wonderful pictures, call 1-800-346-1100. 1-800-346-1100. Childreach sponsorship. Yes, it works.
In the last 2 years, the use of seatbelts has saved an estimated 18,000 lives. If buckling up can save so many lives on the road, imagine what it can do on the water. Boat smart. Buckle up. It can save your life. In a world of uncertainty, there will always be a need for those proud few who can prove they are a world apart. Maybe you can be one of us, the few, the proud, the Marines.
Look, Doc, I don't know how to say this, but I've been having a little trouble. You know? Nah, it's not important. Yeah? It is important, so I'm just gonna say it. I can't say it.
Can't say what, Mr. Ely? You have a problem?
No, I'm fine, Doc.
Learn how to talk to your doctor. Call for a free booklet, 1-800-222-2225.